the 15th of May, 2026, Friday morning. We are in chapter 7 of Ethics, a reading from a common Buddhist text, guidance and insight from the Buddha. Chapter 7 of Mahayana tradition. We previously covered the Theravada tradition on ethics. The power of goodness. Good overcomes evil. This passage points to the power of goodness to overcome evil. My good men, in this world system called Earth, there are 10 wholesome practices that are not taken up by anyone in any other Buddha fields. What are these 10 practices? They are to attract the poor by means of generosity, to attract those of bad conduct by means of ethical discipline, to attract the hostile by means of patient acceptance, to attract the lethargic by means of vigor, to attract those whose minds are distracted by means of concentration, to attract the unwise by means of wisdom, to attract those who are born in the 8 kinds of unfortunate circumstances and teach them how to free themselves from them, to teach to those who practice is limited in scope, to attract those who lack wholesome roots by means of wholesome roots, and to continually and uninterruptedly bring living beings to maturity by employing the 4 means of drawing together harmlessly. This can be cited in the Vimalakritri Nidesa Sutra, Chapter 9, Section 17, translated from Sanskrit. Generosity. The practice of generosity. What is the Dhamma door for cultivating generosity? When you see that someone has come to you to beg, give them your own property. Give away whatever you have with no trace of meaningless, and bring joy to the other person. When you see people are in crisis or who are being oppressed, employ skill and means to help them and rid them of their fear. If anyone comes to you and asks you for the Dhamma, you should explain the Dhamma to him yourself in a suitable manner. You should practice the cultivation of these 3 kinds of generosity in this way, with no desire for fame or benefit for yourself. You should not have any desire for worldly rewards either. Simply bear in mind the benefits of peace and happiness that your generosity will bring to both yourself and others, and dedicate your actions in unsurpassed perfect awakening. This is cited in the Treatise of Awakening of Faith, Da So, Volume 32, Text 1667, page 590. The types of giving. The son of a good family. There are 3 types of giving. The first is giving the gift of the Dhamma. The second is giving the gift of fearlessness. And the third is giving property. Giving the gift of Dhamma means teaching others. If the great being sees that a living being is afraid of kings, lions, tigers, wolves, floods, or fire, he rescues them from these things. This is giving the gift of fearlessness. There are four hindrances to giving. The first is a miserly attitude. The second is not practicing generosity. The third is not regarding it as worthwhile to give small gifts. The fourth is looking for worldly rewards. Son of a good family. There are three kinds of giver: inferior, average, and superior. An inferior giver is someone who does not have faith that actions bear fruit, who is deeply attached to his miserly attitude. He worries that his possessions may run out and becomes angry when he sees beggars approaching. An average giver is someone who has faith that actions bear fruit, but who still has a miserly attitude. He worries that his possession may run out, but nonetheless decides to give his possessions away when he sees beggars approaching. A superior giver is someone who has faith that actions bear fruit, and who is not miserable with his possession. He understands that his possessions are impermanent, and when he sees someone approaching him to beg, he is happy as if he has something to give. If he has nothing to give, he will be disappointed and gives away even his most precious possessions. Son of a good family, a sage practices generosity for his own sake and for the benefit of others. He understands that all possessions, all precious things are impermanent. He gives because he wants to fill the minds of living beings with joy. He gives out of compassion in order to overcome miserliness without expecting reward in the future. He gives because he wants to honor the path to awakening. This can be cited in the Upasaka Sila Sutra, Daso, Volume 24, Text 1488, Chapter 19. Precepts of ethical discipline. Act ethically. Do not be attached to ethical discipline or judge others. As one's keeping of ethical precepts and others' people's breaking of them are empty of independent existence, avoid attachment and judgmentalism about them. Moreover, Sariputra, when a great being cultivates the perfection of ethical discipline, he should not rely on his pure ethical discipline or be attached to it. He should not be offended by bad conduct, although he does not act unethically himself. Both abiding by the precepts and breaking the precepts are essentially empty. This, Sariputra, is why it is said that all great beings are clad in great virtuous armor of perfect wisdom, while they cultivate the perfection of ethical discipline. This can be cited in the Mahaprana Paramitra Sutra, Daso, Volume 5, Text 220, page 269. The five precepts. Gautama Buddha said to the householder, Ugra, a householder should act with ethical discipline in accordance with the five precepts. He should delight in nonviolence, abandoning the use of swords, sticks, and weapons, with regret that for what one has done in the past, taking firm vow not to kill any living being, not to get angry with any living being, and always to cultivate compassion equally for all. He should not take what is not given, being content with his own property, not longing for others' possessions. He should eliminate greed, to not allow delusion to arise, never feeling jealous of others' property or income. He should not take even a blade of grass that has not been given to him. He should abstain from adultery. He should be satisfied with his own wife. He should not desire the wives of others, or glaze lovingly at beautiful women of others. In his mind, he recoils from suffering. His thoughts often turn to renunciation. When attuned to renunciation, if he sees that desire for his own wife arises, he should cultivate an aversion to what is unlovely, knowing that this is a powerful form of bondage. He should reflect, I must not act out of desire. He should always cultivate an awareness of impermanence, of what is painful, of non-existence of the essential self, and of impurity. He should reflect, I shall not indulge in desirous thoughts, certainly not in mutual physical contact. He should not avoid false speech, or he should avoid false speech. What he does should be in harmony with what he says. He should not deceive others. He should do what he has planned to do. In a wholesome state of mind, he should speak truthfully when he talks about what he has heard or seen. Abiding the truth, he should give up his life rather than tell a lie. He should abstain from drinking alcohol. He should not be intoxicated or disorderly. He should not speak rashly or behave impudiciously. He should not ridicule others or wrestle with them. He should remain mindful with clear awareness. If he wants to give up all his wealth and property, he should give food to those who need food and drink to those who need drink. When he gives to others, he should reflect, I will give them anything they want. I will satisfy the desires of those who beg. If giving someone alcohol will lead him to become composed of mindful without deceit, he will give him alcohol. Why would he do this? This is the perfection of giving, satisfying the desires of others. This, Ugra, householder, is why the Buddhas do not criticize the great being who gives up alcohols to others. This can be cited in the Ugra Paricheta Daso, Volume 11, text 310, page 473. Excuse me. The refuges and the precepts. The wise recognize that there are two kinds of ethical discipline. The first is worldly convention, the other is the ultimate ethical discipline. Conventional ethical discipline is taking the precepts without having gone to the refuge in the Taratanatai, the three jewels of the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. This kind of ethical discipline is not stable, like dye that has not been fixed. Because of this, I go to the refuge, to the three jewels, before taking the precepts. This can be cited on Upasaka Sila Sutra Daso, Volume 24, text 1488, chapter 22, page 1063. Keeping precepts removes fear from other beings. Son of a good family, giving the gifts of fearlessness is the most important kind of giving. That is why I say that the 5 great sacrifices of the 5 precepts that alleviate living beings' fear. This can be cited in the Upasaka Sila Sutra Daso, Volume 24, text 1488, chapter 22, page 1064. We will leave off there today on chapter 7 for the perspective of the Mahayana traditions on ethics, as we pick up on chapter 7 on suicide on the next one. A reading from the common Buddhist text, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. Chief Editor, Dr. Mahapradhamma ko sa jat.